One kid killing the parents is a bad seed. Two kids killing the parents is a bad family.
So when you were at UCLA, there was a decision made for you to stay apart the next day.
Yes. There were different decisions made.
Did you stay apart the next day?
Yes.
What time did you leave the house on Sunday?
Around 8 o'clock.
In the morning?
Yeah.
Before you left the house, did you let your brother know you were going?
Yeah, I went over and knocked on Lyle's guest house door and told him.
Did you see your parents that morning?
No.
Now, when you knocked on Lyle's guest house door that morning, did you tell him something that had happened to you Saturday night after you got back
Yes.
from UCLA? Let's go back to Saturday night for a minute. Did something happen to both of you together after you got back from UCLA on Saturday night?
Yes.
And what was it that both of you experienced Saturday night?
An argument with my mother. My mother was yelling at us.
And in the course of that argument with your mother, did your mother say something unusual?
To me, yes.
She said it to you, or it was unusual to you, or both?
She said it to me. The other thing she said, she always said, but what she said to me was unusual.
All right. What were the other things she said that she always said?
Just that she hated us and that she wished we were never born and that we ruined her life. That.
Was this sort of a litany your mother would go in when she was really just real upset and just would start saying this then?
Yes.
Stay. The answer's stricken.
When would your mother make that kind of statement?
Whenever she was upset, she could make it. Sometimes she wouldn't, sometimes she would. Just depended how she felt, I guess.
Now, she said it, about how many times do you think you heard that over the course of your life?
40, 50 times.
So it wasn't like she was telling you something. Did it seem like she was trying to tell you something, or did it seem like she was just in a habit of speech?
No, she was.
Did it seem like a speech habit of hers? When she said it, did she always say the exact same words?
Yes.
Now, what else did she say Saturday night that was not part of this standard upset thing that she'd say?
She told me that if I would have kept my mouth shut, things might have worked out in the family.
What did you think that meant?
That meant that things had not worked out in the family, and I believed that she was going to kill us.
Well, things had not worked out in the family, and whose fault was that?
Mine, because I had told Lyle.
And keeping your mouth shut, what did you think she meant? Shut about what?
About the stuff between Dad and I, and that I had told Lyle.
And what did you think she meant by things not working out in the family? The family had had problems before, of one kind or another, like all families, hadn't it?
Overall.
Usually there was a lot of argument in these when she would say, there had not been anything. Since Thursday night, there had been no arguments on Friday, no arguments on Saturday, and suddenly she was coming up with this statement that the family was through, and I really thought I knew what that meant.
You said the family was through. Now, she didn't say the family's through or the family's over. She said, but for what you did, things would work out.
She said that things hadn't worked out.
And did you therefore interpret that to mean the family was over?
Yes.
And did you interpret that to mean that certain members of the family were not going to be alive?
Sustained.
How did you interpret that? What did you interpret that with respect to the various members of the family?
I thought they were going to kill Lyle and I. It seemed clear.
You've told us that on Thursday night you didn't get much sleep.
No.
And you had that nightmare.
Yes.
Now, on Friday night, where did you sleep?
In my bedroom.
And did you get a lot of sleep Friday night?
No.
Now, on Saturday, after this argument with your mother. By the way, what was the argument actually about with your mother when you got back to the house Saturday night from UCLA?
The fact that the door was locked.
Okay, well, why didn't you guys just unlock the door and go in?
She was saying that we should have had a key, and we were saying that, well, Lyle was saying that she didn't give us a key, and she was saying that was no excuse for not having a key.
Did you have a car?
Yes.
Did you have a key ring for your car?
Yes.
Did it have car keys on it?
Yes.
Did you have a house key on the key ring?
No.
Why?
Because she did not let me have a house key on the key ring.
Did your brother have a car?
Yes.
Did he have a key ring for his car?
I don't know.
Well, did your mother ever give either one of you a key that was your own?
No.
To any house?
No.
That you ever lived in?
No.
And did she make a statement ever about why you didn't have keys to the house?
I don't remember.
Do you remember how she used to refer to the houses? Were they our house, or your house, or my house?
No, they were her house.
Is that what she said?
Yes.
And did she ever make a statement about it being her house in connection with any discussion you ever had with her about keys?
Yes.
Okay. And what would she say in that regard?
She would say that I'm not going to give you a key to my house, and that, there's no reason for you to have a key, that you can just knock on the door.
And did that mean, Mr. Menendez, that there was no time that you could come back home from a date, from being with your friends, and get in the house if she had locked it up without her knowing it?
If I hadn't left the little door open, yes.
Okay, well, sometimes you left a door open, but if she had locked the whole house up, you couldn't get in without her knowing?
No. Except in the Calabasas house.
Did you have a special way of getting into the Calabasas house?
Yes.
How was that?
Through the upstairs window. There was a tree, I don't know how to describe it, a balcony type of thing that you would climb up the post and you could get into the window.
A thing that you grow a tree up against?
Yeah, a vine.
Trellis?
Yes.
And you could crawl in a second-story window?
Yes.
And that's how you'd get into the Calabasas house after she had locked it up?
Yes.
Okay, with respect to the Beverly Hills house, if she had locked it up and you needed to come home,
No, you couldn't get in.
you'd have to do what?
You'd have to knock on the door or ring the doorbell.
And then she'd know all
That
of your
you were home.
movements, right?
Yes.
Did you have a sense at any time when you were living with your parents that you had any personal privacy?
No.
Did you have a sense that your parents were not interested in every single thing you did?
No, I thought they were interested in everything I did.
And did they require and request you to report to them about every single thing you did?
They required it.
Did you always do it?
No.
And why wouldn't you always do it?
Because I wanted to keep certain things in my life private, and certain things I just wanted to keep to myself.
Was this bad things or just ordinary things?
Just ordinary things. If I was seeing a girl or this and that, I wanted to keep it to myself.
So let's go back to the Saturday night. Neither one of you has a key. Now, there were keys in a place inside, your brother testified. Remember that?
Yes, in the kitchen.
And what was supposed to, if you took one of those keys, were you supposed to put it back?
Yes.
Couldn't keep it.
No.
And did you have difficulties with that system where to leave the house you take a key and then you got to put it back?
Yes.
And what would happen?
If we didn't put it back, she'd get very angry.
Would you lose these keys
Sometimes.
because they weren't on a key ring?
Yeah, we'd lose them, and she'd accuse us of lying and actually trying to keep the key. And so she'd get upset, and eventually she'd make another key and put it in the kitchen.
So did you take to leaving a door open when you were going out for the evening? Not one of the main doors, but some other door so you could
Yes.
get back in? But would your mother, before she went to sleep, go around the house routinely and lock them all up?
Sometimes.
Sometimes she'd overlook one?
Yes.
Now, after the confrontation with your mother at the door, where did you go?
I went outside.
And did you have another discussion with your brother?
Yes.
And what was the main thing that you were discussing at that point?
That something was definitely going to happen, and for me to to stay away. And I was basically saying, "Wow, you better talk to him tomorrow. I want to know what's going on."
What was it that made you then say, what was it that happened in that confrontation with your mother at the door that made you say, wow, Lyle, something is really happening?
What she said to me about if I would have kept my mouth shut.
Okay, so that statement added something to what you were already thinking?
Yes.
Did that make you more fearful, less fearful?
Made me a lot more fearful.
And as a consequence, did you then take something with you up to your room when you re-entered the house?
Yes.
And when you re-entered the house, now your mother had opened the door for you, right?
Yes.
And then she went back to bed?
She went up to her room.
And did you then, when you went outside to talk to your brother again, did you close the front door?
No, we left it open.
You left it open?
Yes.
So when you went back inside now to actually go up to your room, did you take something with you?
Yes.
What did you take?
The gun.
Now, had you ever done anything in addition to the gun after you had put the 2 rounds in the car on the way back from San Diego?
On Friday?
On any day before this point?
No.
So it was in whatever condition it was in when you first brought it home on Friday?
Yes.
And did you now take it up to your bedroom?
Yes.
And where did you put it?
Well, I put it on the side of my bed.
And can you see, Mr. Menendez, does this photograph of your bedroom show, at least sort of show, where it was you put the gun on the side of your bed that Saturday night?
Yes.
Why don't you do an arrow from the light part down? You did 2 arrows?
Yeah.
Okay. And these arrows point to like an overhang. This is a, what kind of bed is this?
There's a little, it's a wooden bed. It's a wooden bed.
Yeah, what kind of mattress?
It used to be a water bed, but it had broken a long time before, and it's just a mattress inside.
It's a platform type bed, isn't it?
Yes.
And is there an overhang?
Yes, and that's why I kept the gun inside there.
Okay, so it's like sits on a platform, and then part of it overhangs, and you put the gun...
Sort of like this.
Sort of like this edge here, sort of like I'm putting the pen on the edge?
Yes.
Like this, sort of? Okay. So sort of only one jury can see that, so I'll put the pen on the other edge. Sort of like that.
Yes.
This would be a good place.
All right, we'll take our recess until tomorrow at 9 o'clock. Again, don't discuss this case among yourselves or with anyone else. Don't form any final opinions about it, and don't permit yourselves to be exposed to anything about this case outside of the courtroom, and we'll resume tomorrow at 9 o'clock.